Welcome to this week's Four Piece podcast. Today I am wearing a Buffalo Bills quarter zip hoodie or sweater. It's not a quarter zip hoodie, it's a sweater. I'm wearing it because this was Super Bowl week. And, I just turned 55 a couple days ago. And I'm sitting there thinking, I will say this right now, I did not watch the Super Bowl this year. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I didn't watch the Super Bowl. All right? I'm just going to tell you straight up the reason why I didn't watch the Super Bowl. Because I am so tired of seeing either the Chiefs or the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I really am. I'm tired of it. Now, I'm not hating on them. They're great teams. That's why they go there all the time. But I just don't like watching it anymore. I just don't. I don't like watching it, and I don't like seeing them lose, and I definitely don't like seeing them win because I'm from Buffalo. And being from Buffalo, I'm going to tell you a couple bad things about being from Buffalo. Number one, I'm 55 years old, all right? So I'm sitting there thinking about it as I was watching the last time the Buffalo Bills lost. I was like, dude, I only have a few more seasons left. I'm not trying to sound morbid, but I only have a few more seasons left. They've got to win, and they've got to win as soon as possible, or I am going to go from cradle to grave without watching or at least seeing a Super Bowl victory. Now, I've seen 4 Super Bowl appearances, but that's not enough, man. I'm hungry. I'm hungry for more. So, in order for me to live as long as I can to see the Super, because I'm going to tell you right now, based on some of the crap that they did this year in the off season, I'm holding my breath. I'm not going to hold my breath, I should say, saying that they're Super Bowl contenders next year. I might be wrong, and God, I really hope I'm wrong. But I will tell you this right now. I'm going to have to live as long as I can to make sure I'm there. And one way you live as long as you can is by eating healthy and doing the right things. And today we have all the way from Australia a man by the name of Harrison Scott. And Harrison Scott is, if you go on Instagram or anything like that, you will see what he is all about. He is really good. It is called South Coast Holistic. And again, you will be able to get his information in the podcast notes. He has really good advice on nutrition. He's also starting his own supplement business. It is going to happen as soon as it can. But again, it is South Coast Holistic, and it's Harrison Scott. When we come back, he's going to help me and help you in staying alive long enough to finally see a Buffalo Bills Super Bowl appearance. Let's hope. We'll be right back right after this.
Some fathers teach you how to stand tall. Others teach you how to survive. In Lessons from My Father, Dr. Trunnis Goggins II confronts the legacy of a powerful, complicated man and the truths no one talks about. This is a story of discipline and damage, loyalty and fear, love that left scars. Because sometimes the hardest lesson is understanding the man who made you. Lessons from My Father. Available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and anywhere you buy books.
Welcome back to the Four Piece Podcast. We have a guest today that is really, if you are on Instagram and you see him, it's called South Coast Holistic Health. It's out of Australia. It is I listen to him. I am 55 years old, and our friend of the show, Philip McDonald, actually introduced me to listen to Harrison, and I was just amazed. Harrison, welcome to the program. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, first of all. It's an honor to be here.
It is my pleasure. It's an honor to have you here. So you're on Instagram constantly talking about health, supplements, you're talking about proper eating, exercise, and you give great advice. What made you start doing that?
Well, it kind of came out of a bit of a necessity of just trying to grow my business. So I started my business last year, South Coast Holistic Health, and basically, the way that marketing seems to work in this new world is that you have to be online and you have to almost be your own micro influencer. And like that does not come naturally to me. Trust me, when I started making these videos and started making content, everything felt like it was painful. I would watch them back, I'd listen to myself, I'm like, God, I hate this. But the response that I got from people, like just the people around me that I know, like people at the gym, people that I see out in public, they're like, oh, that was a great video. I'm like, oh, really? You liked that? And so I'm like, damn, that means I have to make more. And yeah, I mean, it comes from just a necessity of people that I'm trying to educate people in a way that is accessible, because it's not always accessible to come see a practitioner like myself, because obviously in a time where money is quite tight, people can't spend $150 to sit down with you for an hour and a half to talk about what's going on in their life. Go
You
on.
know, I watched one of your things, and I'm going to tell you, I watched it. I saw it. I don't know when you aired it, but I watched it about 3 or 4 nights ago. And what I did was, you were talking about creatine,
Yeah.
and you were saying, yeah, and you were talking about how not only does it help with muscle recovery, but it helps with cognitive skills and stuff like that. I was that guy. You said, most people take only 5 grams of creatine, and I was a guy. I took 5 grams of creatine. I have increased my intake of creatine after watching you. Where do you get your research, and where do you learn all this great information?
Yeah, so I have an academic background, so I have 2 degrees. I have one in human nutrition, and that was a pretty like standard like academic nutrition degree. That's kind of it's a stepping stone degree. You can go into public health that way, or you can go into like a master's of dietetics and work as like a dietitian in a hospital treating people that way. But that didn't really suit what I wanted to do. The more that I the more that I learned about stuff outside of that degree, I didn't really think that that was the path I wanted to take. So my second degree after that was in naturopathy, so as a naturopath. And that's looking a bit more holistically at the body. So we're looking at, yeah, the body as a whole. We're looking at the mental sides of things. We're looking at what you're doing with your body, what you're putting into that body. And so, yeah, it's a little bit more, yeah, it's just that holistic approach. And I guess the information that I learn is obviously from great teachers that I had, but also it's just looking at the literature online. Like you can go to PubMed and research any paper that you want. If you want to learn about creatine, you can type into PubMed creatine benefits or creatine dosage or whatever it may be. And obviously it's there for the scientific community. So you need to have a little bit of like scientific literacy to know what they're actually saying. But that's a skill that you learn over time anyway.
Okay, very good. And what got you into what got you into this field of health and nutrition?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been conscious of good food. So, like growing up, my mum would always cook like healthy, mostly organic foods. And so that was always like a backbone of what I knew. But a pivotal point was actually talking to another naturopath. They were doing like free consults in front of the health food store that my mum works at, and it was just like a little discovery talk. So like, what's your diet like? How does your digestion work? All these little things. And I was 22 at the time. I'm 30 now, and I thought I was doing great. I was like, yeah, my diet's really good. And honestly, you talk to anyone, it doesn't matter what their health is, and they say their diet's pretty good. And so it was like I had a little bit of pushback to what they had to say. They're like, oh, maybe you should change this, maybe you should do that. And I did listen and I did change some of those things, and I noticed a difference, like specifically in my digestion. I'm like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. So, and he also recommended a podcast to listen to
Excellent.
himself.
So when you started the business, um, when you started your business, what are your goals? What do you have in mind with the business? I mean, what are your future goals with the business? What is your purpose, I should say?
So my purpose is to just educate people. That's pretty much the primary purpose. So educating people on how they can live their healthiest life. So for me as a naturopath, people will come to me with a specific health condition. It's generally chronic because our healthcare system doesn't work well with chronic diseases. And I will educate them on probably the things that they might be doing wrong in their life, as well as, use targeted supplements and herbal medicine to help that disease. And that's just what I want to do on a scale that's sustainable for myself, because obviously, as a single practitioner, I don't want to burn myself out. I want to see people at like a steady rate, but I don't want to have to be overbooked to the point where I actually burn out and forget to like care about the patients. And I see that it's happened a lot with practitioners. So I don't want to get to that point.
Absolutely. And then when you and as far as I know that you are talking, you're in the stages of creating your own supplements right now. What is that stage right now of your market? I mean, how is that going so far?
Yeah. So like it's in a bit of it. It's in its infancy at the moment. I'm just testing out a starting product, which is an electrolyte blend. So essentially, I got fed up with what was on the market, and one of my friends, he wanted me to buy some for him, and it was a stupid price. It was something like $70 for, so like 40 American for 180 grams of electrolytes, and it's basically just salt. Like it's salt and flavoring. And I thought I can do
Right.
better than that. Like I can make something comparable and make it at a cheaper price, and looked it up to see what I could do. And yeah, I was able to make something that tastes great and so far has been had good success just at a local level.
It's funny you just said electrolyte, and then right when you said that, I picked up my drink, and that's what I'm drinking right now, electrolytes.
Yeah.
So that's unbelievable. So what I'll tell you right now, when you start distributing them, I'm definitely going to be buying them from you. I will not be buying from who I'm buying right now, because I'm sure yours are more wholesome and probably more organic than what I have right now. What are your plans? Are you looking at just Australia? Are you looking at Australia, New Zealand? Are you looking where? How far do you want to reach when it comes to nutrition?
Well, like at the moment, like I've been working at a very local level. So I'm just trying to improve the people of like my local town at this point in time. But obviously, I can reach people throughout the whole world. Like obviously, you're listening to me on my Instagram. So, being able to reach people around the world is great. But obviously, my
Absolutely.
focus is here. But if someone wants to book in with me, that is anywhere around the world, they can, because at the moment, like telehealth is so available, and that's like 50% of my business is telehealth. So yeah, a
Well,
global reach, but acting local.
excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And what city are you in again in Australia, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so I'm in Ulladulla, which is there's about 20,000 people in the greater area, so it's quite a small town, and it's about 3.5 hours south of Sydney. So we're on the south coast in New South Wales.
It is a long drive from Sydney, and I think that is a beautiful city. It's probably one of the prettiest cities I've ever seen in my life. I mean it. It's a gorgeous city and gorgeous country, and I love what you're doing. I will be in Australia in May and on my way down south because I have to go to Sydney and then I have to go to Tasmania. But on my way, I'm going to make sure I go out on my way to check you out and see what you're doing because I really appreciate what you're doing. Harrison,
Yeah.
thank you for being a part of the program. I absolutely appreciate it. Again, Harrison, he is with, and it's South. Am I saying it right? South Coast Holistic. Is that correct?
Health. South Coast Holistic Health.
Very good. Thank you so much. We will be back right after this.
The 4 Ps of You, Expanded Edition by Trunnis Goggins, is a powerful guide to personal growth built on 4 foundational principles: purpose, planning, passion, and persistence. In this expanded edition, Goggins shares real stories of trials and tribulations, his own and those of others, to inspire readers to reflect, reset, and rise. With added insights and practical exercises, this book empowers you to navigate life's challenges, unlock your potential, and live with greater intention and impact. The 4 Ps of You is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and worldwide wherever books are sold.
Welcome back to part 2 of this segment with Harrison. Harrison, we were talking during the break about my eating habits, and you said you could talk about anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and get me out there. I'm going to tell you, I'm 55 years old. I work out all the time. I am not overweight in any way, shape, or form, but I am addicted to sugar. And you brought something up that I really want. I want the audience to hear. I'm a sugar addict. As a matter of fact, there's a guy in Australia right now who gives me the nickname Cupcake because I eat them so much. So go ahead. So what is the remedy to that, and what is wrong right there?
Well, so one hypothesis here is that your insulin is all over the place. Now, insulin is a hormone that is a storage hormone. It's building, and it's released in response to eating foods. And so what happens when we eat a meal that contains carbohydrates, our insulin starts to spike up. And then after that meal, it wants to compensate, so it comes back down. But it goes down lower than where we started at baseline. It ends up down here. And that is another trigger for us to want to eat food. And the easiest thing for us to increase that insulin is sugar. So it might be the fact that your insulin is all over the place. I'm not sure what your eating habits are, but perhaps you're eating like multiple meals and snacks each day. Whereas I would say to rectify that, trying to stick with 3 meals unless there's an actual need for more food. So if you're training hard, if you're training endurance, then that would be a need for more food. The second hypothesis that I would have there is your microbiome. So have you heard much about the microbiome?
So what about, like, a lot of people talk about intermittent fasting. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so it can have benefits, and it really just depends person to person. For myself, I did intermittent fasting for maybe 3 or 4 years, and like I had really no reason to do it, but it was mainly just out of listening to other scientific, like I guess, influencers out there saying that it's great for your longevity and all of this stuff. And yeah, it does seem to be the case that it helps with that. It also has the ability to lower your insulin irrespective of how much food that you're eating. So say you eat the same amount of food, but it's in a shortened window, your insulin response will be lower. So there's a benefit to that. But on the flip side of that, the issue is that it can trigger a bit of a stress response. So when you are hungry, your stress, your cortisol will increase. And for me, I felt that way more than I felt any benefits of it. Like I was just felt the stress in my body for those, like, say 6 hours of the morning until 12 o'clock when I would eat my first meal. And so it didn't really work for me. And now I'll eat, like, I still get a window through the night. So it's about 12 hours, from when I eat at 7 o'clock at night to 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning when I eat breakfast. I think that's really important. But to go longer than that, I don't think it's a benefit to my health specifically.
And then the last question I want to give you is this. Everybody, if you go on, Facebook, you go on Instagram, you go on TikTok, everybody's talking about oil of oregano mixed with black seed oil. They say
Right.
it is the end all be all, and it will do all these good things for you. Is that a true statement?
There are benefits to both of those herbs. However, you're not just going to use them for the sake of using them. So oil of oregano is a very potent antimicrobial and parasitic. So yes, it has good benefits, but it's also going to wipe out your good bacteria in your gut. If you're using it all the time, you are going to reduce the population of good bacteria and the bad bacteria. So you might feel better, you might feel less bloating, less pain in your stomach, but you got to use these things strategically and use it under the guidance of someone who knows what they're doing. Don't just go out and buy these things and think that it's going to do you good, because it can actually do you more harm if you're not using them correctly.
Okay. And so, and it's funny how you talk about bloating and things like that. I know I've eaten in Australia. I've eaten food from even from fast food restaurants in Australia, and I've eaten here in the United States. I've eaten healthy foods in the United States. I will say this right now: when I go to Australia, when I eat food there, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't make me feel as bad as I feel when I'm over here. Do you think that processing and I don't want to say processed foods because that's not what I'm trying to say, but do you think that the process of how food is prepared in Australia actually leads to better digestional health than here in the United States?
Well, it's funny because I would say that a lot of people say the same things about when they go from Australia into, say, Europe, because honestly, I have no scientific backing for this, but I would say I would call it the holiday phenomenon, because hopefully when you're in a different country, so us going to Europe or you coming over to Australia, you just don't have the same stress burdens in your life. And when we are not stressed, we are in our parasympathetic nervous system. So we're more dominant in this, which is our rest and digest. So we're able to relax. We're able to digest better. We don't have this constant stress going through our body. And I think that could be a big reason to why when we do travel, we can actually find ourselves being able to tolerate foods better. But there's no scientific backing to that. That's just what my thoughts are.
You know, that is actually, I never thought of it that way. You're probably right. You're in that holiday pattern and you're not as stressful. You're actually happy, you're in a good mood, and you don't have anything to jack you up while you're going around. Harrison,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being a part of this program. Thank you for sharing the knowledge. I'm going to tell you, I am going to have how to reach him and how to follow him in the podcast notes. He's an up and comer. I will tell you this right now, and he is really focused on health. He is focused on us eating better, living better, and I'm going to tell you, I'm glad he was on my podcast first. Remember me when you get like super, super big, and I start seeing your supplements all over the world, because it's gonna happen. Harrison, thank you so much for being on the program. We'll be right back right after this.
Every story begins with a truth. Some stories are meant to inspire. Some are meant to heal. All deserve to be heard. At Veritas Publishing House, we bring truth to life through the written word. At Veritas, we guide authors from vision to visibility with purpose, planning, passion, and persistence. This is more than just publishing. It's legacy. Veritas Publishing House, publishing truth, inspiring purpose.
Welcome back to the 4Ps podcast. One thing I really want you to get out of this is I want you to eat better. Take good care of yourself. Work out. I know I need to eat better. I'm not lying to you. I really do. I need to eat better. I'm going to tell you something. Long time ago, and you guys can get this. This is not in the book, but the book is called Lessons from My Father, and you'll read the book and you'll see what it's all about, and it is actually a great book. It really is. It was very hard for me to write, but I'm going to share a story about my eating habits. I hate peas. I really do. I hate peas, even though my books are called the 4Ps, and this is the 4Ps podcast. But I hate peas, Peas. I hate them. I just do not like them. I just they don't have any. I hate the texture. I hate the taste. I hate all of it. I just don't like peas. And one day, my father threatened to give me a spanking if I didn't eat peas. And you know what I did? I actually went upstairs and got the belt. because I was going to take and you know what? My father never spanked me on that. That was the first time I actually said, you go ahead and do it, because I'm not eating those peas. And it was, I don't know, I just don't like peas. But you know what? I'm really bad at eating vegetables as well. And I need to get better with that. I do know that I do take supplements, and supplements aren't like the real thing. I drink like those green drinks that you put, all the crushed up, dried out vegetables and stuff like that, and I do that, but I am not a vegetable eater. I do eat a lot of protein, and I've started to increase my protein because I'm going to be doing the CrossFit Turf Games in Sydney. I actually have another event here in North Carolina that I'm going to do to practice for Sydney. But yeah, I'm just not a good eater. But I will tell you this right now: I want to live a long time, not just to see the Buffalo Bills go to the Super Bowl, and that may never happen anyway. But I want to live a long life because I love my grandkids, I love my children, and I love my wife. I love my family, and I do want to spend I want to spend as much time as possible. And like I said, I'm 55, and I am just really beginning to enjoy what's going on out here. I mean, it's just I'm having a blast. I'm having a lot of fun. So again, I hope Harrison Scott did help you in at least give you a lot. I mean, he's a very knowledgeable individual. A lot of knowledge when it comes to nutrition. I hope that you start eating healthier and think about it. Think about eating healthy. Think about the stuff you're putting in your body. And again, think about having a long life. Because I'm going to tell you, that's the way you can achieve your purpose, is to be healthy, have a clear mind, and do things. Physically. If you're physically well, it does help you in being mentally well as well. Next week, we're going to be talking about marriage. We're going to have Trunnis Olson on the program. He has a book called Of Love and Bubbles. And I'm going to tell you, me being the expert on marriage, and I'm saying that totally facetiously. I'm nowhere near the expert on marriage. I'm the expert on divorce. I can divorce like but I am not the expert on marriage. We will be talking to him about how to, for me to, stop getting divorces. That costs so much money. It's too expensive. Save some money and not get a divorce. So, and I want to save you some money, and I also want you to be with the person you're with and love the person you're with and stay with the person you're with till death do you part. And if you eat healthy, you can have a little bit more time with that person, I hope. We will talk to you next week with Trunnis Olson, the author of Love and Bubbles. And it's great to, again, I love doing this podcast. It's always great it's always great looking at the reviews. It's just great doing that. And I will say this, what I meant by again, as I was going, it's not really again because I haven't said it yet in this podcast. Don't forget to write your purpose and go to the 4Ps, go to the 4psgroup.com, get on there, be a part of the contest, get a signed book of that book right there, right in the middle. And also you're going to get these, and I'm going to tell you, the pens are just phenomenal, and you're going to get some t-shirts too. That's one thing I'm going to give you, and a mug. And the mugs are awesome. It's not like this mug. This is a Buffalo Bills mug, believe it or not. Just a different color. And it does, it works better than the Buffalo Bills because it does keep my drink cold. That's good. And it does what it's supposed to do, I guess. But anyway, and I'm just saying that because I'm still a little salty about them Bills. See you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Purpose isn't something you find once and forget. It's something you choose every single day. In 2026, how are you living with purpose? The 4Ps podcast invites you to write about the steps you're taking to pursue, sustain, or rediscover your purpose this year. Share the habits you're building, the mindset shifts you're making, the lessons that are shaping your direction. Your words could inspire thousands and be featured on the 4Ps podcast. One winner will receive a signed copy of the 4 Ps of You, exclusive 4 Ps gear, and official recognition across all 4P platforms. Write with clarity, write with courage, write with purpose. Because purpose isn't discovered once, it's reaffirmed daily.